Evolution. Although Darwin was right in proposing a process of evolution, he was wrong about what was evolving. Today we will be discussing the difference between material and spiritual evolution and attempt to set Darwin straight. Hi, welcome back. Good to see you here again. I'm Jyotimaya from Infallible Wisdom, where we try to inspire you to reach your goals. Please take a second to hit the subscribe button so that we can keep in touch. Consciousness or awareness, in the simplest sense, is not a characteristic of humans alone. Take dogs for instance. Not only can they sense their surroundings through smells and sounds, etc., but they can also recognize places, odors, and people. You may argue that even machines can sense with detectors, so what is the difference? The difference is that a dog can experience pain, fear, and anger, but a machine can't. All species of life are conscious, even though what they sense may differ. Dolphins and bats navigate with sonar, and sharks sense electricity. No matter how varied their sensations, they all share the faculty of consciousness. What about insects? If you block an insect's path, it will turn around, or if it senses danger, it will run to safety or it will bite you. So the instinct for survival is there. But this is not enough evidence for consciousness, because even a robot could be programmed to avoid danger. But a robot does not have desire. While insects desire to live, it also desires to survive. Are microorganisms like bacteria and single-cell creatures conscious? They can move in response to stimuli such as light and chemical changes in the environment. But then again, even a robot could move just like bacterium does in response to some stimulus. But the difference here is that the robot is a non-living thing controlled by a living person. Then who controls the motions of a bacterium? Science proposes its instinct. Some say that the organism's inborn patterns of behavior are encoded in its DNA. In this sense, the organism embedded with DNA code is just like a robot or a machine programmed with a computer language. But just as no robot or computer or machine can function without a living person's commanding it, the bacterium cannot function without a living being controlling it. The foundation of all ancient spiritual knowledge is the understanding that we are not this body, but the eternal soul. The soul is the life force that activates the body. The Bhagavad Gita explains, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. How does the soul pass into another body? What type of body does the soul pass into? How is the next bodily form decided? In the Padma Purana, an ancient Vedic text, describes there are 900,000 species of aquatic life, 2 million species of plant life, and 1.1 million species of insects, 1 million species of bird life, 3 million species of beasts, and 400,000 species of human life. In total, there are 8,400,000 species of life forms throughout the creation. The meaning of species understood by biologists is different from the meaning implied here. The meaning used by biologists applies the gross physical appearance of the living material bodies. The Vedic meaning is based on the level of consciousness of the living being. For example, biologists say that all human beings belong to one species, but the Vedic literature lists 400,000 species of human beings. In other words, there are 400,000 grades of human beings on different levels of consciousness, from the most degraded human beings to the most highly evolved demigods. The varieties of life forms are products of the combinations and permutations of the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. The life forms are just like temporary apartments of different sizes, shapes, and colors, in which the living being temporarily resides. You can occupy one of these apartments according to your ability to pay the rent, but all types of apartments nevertheless exist simultaneously. So the soul, according to his karma, is given a facility to occupy one of these bodily forms. Therefore, the body does not evolve. The soul evolves by paying the price of karma. In the material world, the soul has two types of coverings, the subtle body and the gross body. Actually, the soul enjoys through the subtle body, which is composed of mind, intelligence, and false ego. The gross body is the instrumental outer covering, When the gross body dies, the root of the gross body, the mind, intelligence, and false ego, continues and brings about another gross body. Although the gross bodies change, the real root of the gross body, the subtle body, is always there. The subtle body's activities, be they pious or impious, create another situation for the soul to enjoy or suffer in the next gross body. The process of transmigration of the soul is very subtle. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits this body, that state he will attain without fail." According to the condition of the mind at the time of death, the minute soul enters into the womb of a particular mother through the semen of the father, and then the soul develops a particular type of body. He may get the body of a human being, a cat, a dog, or any other species, depending on all these factors. After death, the living being gets another body according to his desires. So at the time of death, the living entity, under the supervision of higher authorities, is taken to another gross body. The process is just like air carrying a fragrance. This basically is the mechanism for reincarnation. There are 8,400,000 species of life for the soul to choose from. Think of any desire. If someone likes to sleep a lot, the material nature will give him a polar bear's body so that he can sleep for 6 months of the year without being ridiculed. Karma is what determines the path you take through various species. It is accrued only in the human form of life. The soul uses up his accumulated karma as it passes through the non-human species. So we can understand that in the human form, it is like a crossroads where you have to decide which road to take, the path to heaven, the path to hell, or the path to God. Originally, the soul is fully conscious of its spiritual identity, but when the soul desires to enjoy the material world, it falls down from the spiritual platform. First, the soul accepts a body that is human in form, but gradually, due to degraded activities, he transmigrates into the lower forms of life, into the animals, the plants, and aquatic forms. By the gradual process of spiritual evolution, the living entity again gets the body of a human being and is given another chance to get out of the cycle of transmigration. The living entity falls from the human body to the animal kingdom due to bad karma and animalistic propensities. After he has worked off his karma in the non-human species, eventually he returns to the human form, where he gets an opportunity to carve out a new destiny. While the living entity is in the animal body, he loses the opportunity to make spiritual progress. Only in the human form of life can we choose to perform spiritual activities and make tangible spiritual advancement. On the other hand, living entities in non-human bodies are forced to act according to instinct till they get a human body. The human form of life is especially meant to facilitate the liberation of the conditioned soul. The living beings are suffering due to our forgetfulness of God. If we take shelter of the Supreme Person as the protector and take advantage of his instructions, we can easily revive our eternal blissful nature as parts and parcels of the personality of Godhead. It is for this purpose that human life was created. We can escape the cycle of repeated birth and death by reviving our eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Entity and return back to our original constitutional position. This can be easily achieved by regularly practicing mantra meditation through devotional service or bhakti yoga. Thanks for watching another of my videos. I really hope it was helpful. Please drop a comment below, letting me know if you agree with my take on Darwin's theory of evolution. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button so that I feel inspired to continue making these talks. See you next week. Goodbye.